Hi guys, and welcome back to Mini Urban Farm. My name is Veronica, and today I will be sharing with you my 2021 urban homesteading goals. So recently I uploaded a video that was called 2020 Mistakes and Lessons Learned in the garden, on the homestead, and I talked about some of the things that I think I did really well last year, and I talked about quite a few mistakes that I made. Now I want to talk about some goals that I have. I have been hinting at some of those things in previous videos, but now I want to make an entire video just about goals on this homestead, on our little mini urban farm. Hopefully you'll be able to take some of these things away. If you haven't been doing some of these things, you'll be able to add them to your list of goals for your own homestead. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so number one on the list of goals for 2021 on the homestead is to grow all of our own vegetables. Now, we grow the majority of our own vegetables, and I think I talked about that in a previous video, which is grown right here in the beds behind me. We do grow all of our own herbs, which I love because I don't have to buy herbs at the store at all. Towards the end of last year, when we started preserving food and really focusing on growing more vegetables that we can have for dinner on the table every night, we did manage to save quite a bit of money on our grocery bill just by growing the majority of our own vegetables and saving them for later use. Now this year, I would like all of the vegetables that we eat to come directly from this garden. Now, I don't know how feasible that is because I know sometimes things don't do well in the garden, but I think that we have over-prepared when it comes to the seed list that I put together and all the seeds that we've bought so far and planned out for. So hopefully we have plenty of crops and produce to last throughout the entire season, for spring at least. And then when it comes to fall, I will be planting out more fall vegetables and root vegetables and that sort of thing. But the goal is to have all of the vegetables that we eat come from this garden right behind me. The second goal would be to produce all of our own eggs. Now, last year we bought chickens for the purpose of raising eggs. They are currently about 4.5 months old. We didn't get them all at the same time. We kind of got 3, and then we got 4 more, and then 4 more as we decided we wanted to keep chickens. It was kind of like a surprise purchase. So this year we want to be able to get all of our eggs from our chickens. We have 10 hens and 1 rooster, so hopefully we will be getting eggs pretty soon here. I did get a few of those little ceramic eggs in the mail the other day, so I will be putting those in the chicken coop sometime this week, and hopefully they will be starting to produce eggs very, very soon. Alright, so the next goal on the homestead is producing our own meat. Now, we will never ever produce all of the meat that we eat. It's just not in the cards for us. We eat a lot of steak, chicken, pork, that sort of thing. We will likely add one at a time. I don't think that we will ever get into raising cattle. I could be wrong. I never really thought that I would have chickens, but here we are. So I'll never say never, but I don't think that we will end up producing cattle anytime soon. So the goal this year is to add at least one source of meat to the homestead. That is going to start with chickens. We have already bought chickens. We also did not plan on buying chickens this early. We planned on buying them around March or April, sometime around that time. But then we went online and just started searching for things, and we were learning a lot about the different types of meat chickens. And a lot of the hatcheries that we found, they're already kind of out of chickens, or they've already been bought up, a lot of them. So we went ahead and just ordered them. We didn't want it to be another thing like at the grocery store and you can't find food during the pandemic, so we just went ahead and ordered them, and we'll be building out chicken tractors and all of that in the coming months. So our chickens are actually going to get here at the beginning of February. It's now the middle of January. They will be on the property that we have that is about 5 to 10 minutes away from this property. The only thing there currently is the chickens in the chicken coop for our eggs. We will be adding in additional structures there for the meat laying chickens. We bought 30 to start off with, and we'll probably end up trying to breed out some of our own going forward, so we don't have to have that recurrent investment of actually purchasing meat chicks every single time that we want to raise chicks for meat. At some point in time, we also want to add quail to the homestead. We were supposed to start with quail before we ended up getting chickens. It was just one of those things that we saw chicks in the tractor supply store and we ended up purchasing chicks. So we will start with chickens, but after that we will be adding in quail. Eventually I do want to get to turkey and things of that nature, more gamey birds down the road, but quail seems to be a pretty easy bird to keep. We did butcher quail for the first time this year, and it was actually much easier than I originally thought. So we will be adding in quail right after we get chickens. Now, along with raising quail comes another one of our 2021 goals. We have a dog and is a rather large dog. He eats a lot of food every month, and I want to be able to give him better quality food that doesn't come out of a bag. He does eat a lot of the meat that we cook right now, so I want to keep being able to do that and to produce food for him specifically. I don't know if we'll be able to produce all of his dog food throughout the entire year, but I think that the plan for right now is to start adding in some of those things as we are raising our own meat like chicken and quail, and that will just reduce our cost and make him healthier at the same time. So that has been a goal for a while now, and we'll just continue to work towards that one at the same time. So goal number 5 is actually well on the way already since the beginning of January, and that is baking bread instead of buying it from the store. Now, I got a bread maker for Christmas. I have had one in the past, and for whatever reason I just stopped using it, gave it away, and that was that. So I actually got one for Christmas again this year, and I'll be using that throughout the entire year to make bread and pizza dough and things like that, so we don't have to buy those products from the store. In my opinion, the ones that are coming out of the store have a lot of preservatives. They're not supposed to be on the shelf for that long, but of course they add in chemicals and all of the other stuff to make them more shelf ready to be able to sit on the shelves for several months at a time. And for me and my family, we just wanted something that was a little bit more natural, so we have actually started producing about 1 to 2 loaves of bread every week with the bread maker. It is quite convenient actually. I just pour all the ingredients in there, and about 2 or 3 hours later we have freshly baked bread. So that one I think is pretty much accomplished already, even though it's only been a couple of weeks. I will continue to do that and hopefully not have to buy bread from the store at all anymore. Alright, the next one is to start our food forest. So in addition to our garden and our chickens and our eventual quail, we want to start a food forest. Things like fruit trees, nut trees, that sort of thing. So on the property that we currently have, it's about 1.7 acres. That will be where we eventually build our dream home. But for the time being, we want to start planting out some fruit and nut trees so that they can take their time and grow, and we can have fruit and nuts eventually when we move there, and hopefully in the meantime. Now, fruit and nut trees take a very long time to grow, somewhere in the range of like 3 to 5 years usually. So we want to start planting out those things now. The way that we're going to do that is that we have committed to buying at least 1 fruit tree per month. Or nut tree, but for right now it's been fruit trees. So for the month of January, we actually already bought an orange tree. It is currently sitting on the patio until we get over to the property and we're able to plant it out and figure out the irrigation and that sort of thing. But we will continue to buy at least 1 tree per month for the purpose of starting our food forest. Alright, the next one is to put in more trellis space. Now this one we will be doing sooner rather than later, because as we start our seeds, we are going to be needing a lot of trellis space here. I have selected a lot of seeds for this season, like pole beans and indeterminate tomatoes, that will require a lot of trellis space, along with some other vegetables like cucumbers that they just need the trellis space. So about half of our raised beds right now have trellises, like you can see on either side here. The ones right behind these ones do not have trellises, and then after that they have trellises, and then they don't have trellises again. So we need more trellis space. We will be building out those. They won't be inside of the raised beds. It'll most likely be a 2x4 on the outside of the raised beds, and then the same type of trellis structure. But we will be doing that probably in the next month or so as we start our seeds, because we really don't want to disturb the plants once they're in there, and we want them to have a place where they can trellis as they grow. And since we're on the topic of additions to the garden, another one of our goals is adding in an irrigation system. I talked about how we only use really the sprinkler system and the water hose in a previous video, and I want to be able to add in a drip system or an overhead watering system, probably on the trellis space as well, just so that we can maybe leave for a couple days at a time and not have to have somebody come water the plants, and that I don't have to be out here manually watering the plants every single day. So right now I come out in the morning and again at night, walk the garden, mostly because I enjoy it, but also just to make sure that everything is watered properly, and if it doesn't get watered with the rain or the sprinkler system, which is usually the case, then I hand water everything. So I want to be able to put it in that irrigation system in the actual raised beds, so we don't have to do that anymore, and it's just a more efficient system overall. Alright, the next one is worm composting. Now, if you've never heard of worm composting, it's very similar to composting like in a compost bin. However, there's worms involved. So worms produce compost very quickly, and you feed them the same scraps that you're already composting with. I have never done it. I have looked into it several times already, and I've just never taken the leap. So this year, probably towards the end of the year, one of my goals is to get into worm composting. Alright, so the last 2021 urban homesteading goal is growing our own mushrooms. I have never tried this. I don't know anybody who has tried it. The only thing I've ever seen is on YouTube with people growing their own mushrooms. I'm a little terrified by this one because I don't really know how it works. I don't know if it's like poisonous if you do it wrong or anything of that nature. If you do know anything about it, I would love to hear about it, so please comment below. However, I have never tried it and I don't have that much experience doing the research for it yet, so I have added it to our goals for the end of this year, just to be able to get into it. Not that I'm going to be a professional at it or producing tons and tons of mushrooms for our family, but I want to be able to say that at least this year was the year that I actually got into it and stuck with it. Alright, so thank you so much for joining me with the 2021 goals. I hope that you have been inspired to add some of these things to your list if it is not something that you have on your list yet. If you have other goals that you're working on for 2021, please comment below and share them with me and my family. That way we can add them to our list as well. We are constantly trying to add to our successes and our accomplishments and our goals for the upcoming years. So if you do have anything to share, we would love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.